The interior of the makeshift field office was cramped but organized, with maps and screens adorning every possible space. Zach's eyes swept over the room, taking in the information overload. This'll have to do, he thought. He moved towards a tablestone with a incident report and transcript. His movements deliberate, like a predator zoning in a prey. He picked up a stack of papers, the pages crisped against Kala's fingers. Every fiber of his being was focused on finding those responsible for the attack on the plant, no matter the cost. Let's start with interviews with employees, see if anyone noticed any unusual behavior leading up to the meltdown, Zach said, handing a portion of the documents to Riley. Got it, Riley said, already engrossed in the transcript. Her brow furrowed as she read. Her ability to emphasize with the witnesses' evidence in the way she absorbed their recounted terror. Zach sifted through the reports, each one in window into the horrors of the night before. Voices echoed in his head, snippets of frantic calls and screams that haunted the edges of his thought. It wasn't just about justice, it was personal. Someone had dared to threaten his country, the very thing his father died defending. The witness statement were all over the place, filled with panic and disjointed accounts, many of them contradicting one another, or even themselves. Were these harmless mistakes the product of a chaotic and panic-inducing event, or could some of these be deliberate lies intended to divert suspicions from the attackers? We could have a team of 20 people going through these, Riley said, and it would still take all day. Zach didn't answer. He was thinking about the very real possibility that this was an inside job. How long had the terrorists planned this? How many times had they entered the plant, scoping it out and miraculously detailing every aspect of their deadly sabotage? Where were the security cameras? He asked aloud, breaking the silence that hung thick in the room. They were disabled, Riley replied, her voice heavy. Some were destroyed outright in the blast, while others were so obscured by smoke and debris as to render them useless. Any unusual maintenance check or private contractors on site in the day leading to the attack? Riley shook her head. Not that I'm aware of. Just then, Zach's phone vibrated sharply against the metal desk, joining him from his thoughts. Who is it? Riley asked without looking from her own stack of papers. Unknown number, Zach murmured, dumping the device to life. The message was encrypted as it was unsettling. Zach read it aloud. Check out Garland Fisher's fire from Monsters last year. Not happy about it. Riley said straightly. Sounds like we have our first lead, or our first wild goose chase, Zach said. This could just be a personal vendetta. You really can't take good news, can you? He grunted. Let's see who our mystery texter is. Turning to the laptop at his elbow, he attempted to trace the number. Fingers flying over the screen in practice movements, but it only led him to a discarded burner phone. Someone had been very careful. Damn it, he murmured under his breath. someone sure doesn't want to get wrapped up in this any more than they already are. Let me take a crack at guiding fishing, Riley said, pulling up a new window on her laptop. Her finger danced across the keyboard. The click punctuated the tense silence. She let out a low whistle. Here we go. Looks like Fisher made some serious threats to plant management after his determination. Said he made them regret it. Why was he fired in the first place? Zach asked. Looks like a series of infractions, tardiness, insubordination, neglect of duties, Riley said after a movement of strolling through Fisher's files. According to his supervisor's notes, Fisher was often spotted in off-limit areas, claiming he had lost his ways or looking for vulnerability in the system. Zach suggested his brow creased with thought, possibility. Riley's conceived, and according to this, he was involved in an accident on site about 3 years ago, a pipe burst, and he sustained several burns. He couldn't work for 6 months. So we got motive, both personal and impersonal, Zach said, but would he have the means to pull this off? Zach turned back to his own workstation, driven by a need to piece together the puzzle before them. A quick search for Gowden Fishers brought up more than just disgruntled ex-employees. Connections to a notorious criminal gang surfaced, drawing the line between petty revenge and organized terror. Riley, he said, his voice tight. It looks like Fisher's tied in with the black serpent. Her head snapped up, eyes wide, and drug runners, more like drug running, gun smuggling, do anything for the right price kind of guys. The feds have had him on their watch list for the past 6 months, but there is nothing official, no arrest involving the black serpent. Nothing that would cause him to fail a background check. Still, there's no telling how long he's been involved with them. Shit. Riley's face hard. That elevated things from personal vendetta to a potential national threat. Exactly. Zach leaned back in his chair. The weight of the situation was settling on his shoulders. If Fisher was secretly working with the black serpent, then an attack on the nuclear plant could be just the beginning, as Liz had feared. Are we sure he was even here last night? He asked. Well, I'd say we could check the security footage, but Zach tapped his fingers thoughtfully on the desk. Some of the perimeter cameras look okay, he said. They might be able to tell us who entered the building for that particular shift. It's a lot of people, but if we're only looking for one person, it's doable. Zach's fingers danced across the keyboard with practiced ease, pulling up multiple strings of security footage. Rogers rose and stood behind me, peering over his shoulder. Zach studied dozens of workers entering the plant for the last night shift. As he strolled through the footage, Riley suddenly spoke up. Stop there, she said. Zach paused the video. Riley pointed at a figure on the screen, and Zach zoomed in to get a better look. That's Fisher, Riley murdered from behind him. The man in the video had just cap pulled low, obstructed his face from view, but the distinctive scar down his left arm marking his earlier accident on site was undeniable. Looks like he was on site at the time of the attack, Zach said, a fierce satisfaction kindling within him. The question is how he'd get in. Did he steal a badge, or maybe someone on the inside helped him? Riley suggested either way, he illegally entered the building shortly after the attack. We need to find him. His determination record mentioned threats against management. Riley recalled folding her arms, but jumping from anger at employees to a terrorist is elite. Why take it? Power. Zach answered his gaze, not leaving the frozen image of Fisher. Control. Revenge. Take your pick. They all lead to the same dark place. Or money, Riley suggested. Maybe the Black Serpent promised him a payout or a position within their ranks. Could be. Zach conceded, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. But the Black Serpent are known for playing well with outsiders. If they brought Fisher in, it's because he has something they want. Skills, access, Riley asked, her brows knitting in. Concentration, both. Zach surmised. He knows the plan inside and out. He could make the attack look like an accident, cover their tracks, which would give them time to plan their next move without anyone breathing down their necks. Riley finished. Exactly. Zach's jaw clenched. The implication were chilling. Fisher's fall from loyal employees to vengeful sabotage was a story as old as time. But with the Black Serpents in the midst, it was a power keg waiting to ignite. Whatever the game's planning is big, Zach said, his voice low, and as Fisher's our way in, we need to grab him before he disappears within their world completely. Agreed, Riley said. I go see if I can track down his address. As Riley screamed from Fisher's address, Zach stared at the string, studying the man in the baseball cap. What's your plan? He wondered. And how are the Black Serpents involved in all this? Damn it, Riley murmured, frustrated creeping into her voice as she hit the backspace key with more force than necessary. He's a ghost. No certain address, no recent utilities, cell phones, contracts. It's like he knew we'll be looking and wipe his slate clean. Zach's fingers drummed on the desk, a rhythmic tapping that betrayed his own impatience. He pulled out his phone. Maybe Neil can help us. He placed the call, bringing the phone to his ear. Neil, it's Zach. We've got a situation. Neil repeated with a note of amused interest. Sounds fun. It isn't. There's a man named Jaden Fisher, worked at the Montrose nuclear power plant until 2 years ago. I need an address and known associates, places, hideouts, anything you can scrape up fast. Give me 5. Came the tech expert's confident reply, a hint of excitement lacing his tone. That was Neil, always relishing a challenge. Zach could picture him, eyes alight behind the glow of his monitors, fingers dancing across the keyboard. 5 minutes, Zach repeated, glancing at Riley, who nodded in silence, understanding. He hung up, pocketing the phone. As they waited, Zach paced the length of their cramped space. The tick-tock of the walls clock, mocking their urgency. He replayed everything they knew about Fisher, trying to anticipate his next move. The Black Serpents were not amateurs. They covered their tracks. protect their own. Fisher was their loose end, their vulnerability, and Zach knew there was a good chance that if the Serpents realized Fisher was under suspicions, they would make him disappear permanently. The phone buzzed against his thigh, breaking his train of thought. Zach snatched it up, seeing Neil's name flashed on the screen. Got something, Neil said. Fisher's been using a burner, but he slipped up. Made a call from a landline out in rural Pennsylvania. A small place. Off the grid. Coordinates coming your way. Good work, Zach replied. Though the words felt inadequate for the surge of adrenaline that Neil's news sent cursing through him, rural Pennsylvania, it fit Fisher's M.O. Remote, isolated, a place where a man could disappear, but not from Zach Force. Zach ended the call. Riley, he said, his voice low but urgent as he turned to his partner. If Neil's right, Fisher's hold up with the Black Serpents. They know how to play dirty, and they won't give him up without a fight. Riley nodded grimly, her eyes sharp and focused. Her fingers danced over her own set of gear, bulletproof vest she strapped on will practice ease, then we'll be ready for him. What's our play? Strength is our best bet, Zach replies, slipping extra magazines within his belt. We need to approach the hideout under the radar. Once we make contact, we'll have to adapt quickly. Agreed, Riley said as she checked her weapons. We have the elements of surprise. At least let's not waste it. Zach felt the familiar tension curling in his muscles. The adrenaline already beginning to pump through his veins. He put on his tactical gloves, each movement deliberate, honed by years of training and real-world operations that had etched themselves within his muscle memory. Every action was a silent promise to himself, to Riley, to his father, that he would protect what mattered most. We have to take him alive, Zach, Riley said, whether he's guilty or not. We need to be able to question him. I know. Why do you feel the need to tell me? Sometimes you seem to think you're living in the Wild West. That's all. Zach wasn't sure whether to take this as a compliment or insult. I keep that in mind, he said. Good, because if we don't get the opportunity to question him, we might lose our only chance at figuring out why this attack happened and what might be next.